You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Beat the Nationals 2-1 while the Braves were shut out by the Dodgers 9-0. That means that the Mets now have a one-game lead on Atlanta for the final wildcard spot in the National League.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904 is the phone number if you want to jump in on the show. Get that app, download the Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. You want to email us about advertising or anything about the show, Wimp and Barry at yahoo.com. Don't just email us when Alabama does not play well against South Florida. Email us something positive or maybe some advertising opportunities. We appreciate that very much. Yellowwood pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you certainly don't want it. You're going to build the fence, the deck, the pergola, the 5-star backyard. There's only one choice. You go to yellowwood.com to find a dealer closest to you. And always remember, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Off week for Alabama, so it's a little slow around here in Tuscaloosa, but it'll be roaring next week, all week, I'm sure. And there's some news coming out of possibly the president coming. And obviously, you're a Democrat, you don't want him coming, but I don't know that will make it a zoo around here if he comes. I don't almost think it's selfish to come. It'd be so difficult to get in and out of that stadium and get around if he's here. So I'm hoping that he does not come. But I'd love to have your opinion on that as well, 205-342-9904. We got Chase behind the glass. He's got some Kalen DeBoer clips we can get to in the second hour. We'll get to Kevin Skarbinski at the bottom of the hour. Good morning, Dad. How are you this morning?
Hanging in there, Barry. Several things. Atlanta comes back last night, wins 22-21 over the Eagles. They scored late. It was a good win. Pretty good football game. The Dodgers beat the Braves 9-0. We're having Pat and Kazar on today for just a few minutes. I talked with Pat and asked him if he'd be on. He said he would for a few minutes. So thought that was certainly a person who's been in Tuscaloosa, went to Auburn and won. It should be a little bit interesting to find out what he did in those 6 years that he was trying to get back to the very top. A lot of talk and projections about what's going to be on in the future. For example, one of the projections this morning by CBS is that Alabama would come in at number 10. And you have to understand when there are only 12 teams in the playoffs, that they're good from top to bottom. Texas, been ranked number 1 right now. Of course, Georgia had the 1 point win is all. But they had Alabama, for example, playing Oregon. Alabama 10 and Oregon 7, and the winner would play Ohio State. That's a projection deal. Penn State and Tennessee would play each other, and the winner would play Texas. So it's kind of interesting to watch and listen to what these people have to say about who's going to do what, and none of us know. Bryce Young was benched yesterday, and Andy Dalton is going to be the quarterback in the pros. He's had a tough time getting going. Tennessee is a 7-point favorite at Oklahoma. Interesting game. The Arkansas Auburn game is big. Hank Brown came in and played. Peyton Thorne played well the week before. The defense has not been good. I think Auburn is a 4-point favorite, Barry. I couldn't find all the lines because I got to figure out what to do with that. Milroe was player of the week. That's really about all. We welcome your calls. Barry may have something more enlightening than I do, but for it to be a busy football weekend with Alabama, not involved. It's a little bit different for us, but we welcome your calls.
Yeah, there's a big debate. I saw Reese Davis had a podcast, and then we talk about the Florida situation, and they're talking about Lane Kiffin, and a lot of people right now saying Ole Miss our program's a lot better at this point in time than where Florida is. Florida's kind of a dumpster fire. If you go back, I was looking here at the history of Florida football. You had Doug Dickey there in 1970. He went till 70. He was 58-43. Charlie Pell came in for 5 years, 32, 26-3, not great. Galen Hall, 84-89, 40-18. Steve Spurrier was there. He was there longer than this, but 1990 to 2001, now he was obviously successful, 122-27-1. But since him, Ron Zook, real fast, 33-14. Urban Meyer was very good, 65-15. Will Muschamp, 28-21. Jim McElwain, 22-12. Dan Mullen did pretty well, actually, 34-15. And Billy Napier. Now, they had some interim guys in between that maybe coached 2 or 3 games. Billy Napier currently 12-18 at Florida. My question to you, Dad, is how good is this Florida job? It's since Steve Spurrier. If I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm making $10 million. I've got that thing rolling. I've got my daughter there. I'm not going to Florida. Your thoughts about this Florida job? I think, these Florida people say, well, if Lane Kiffin wants to win a national championship, he needs to come to Florida. He's not going to win one in Ole Miss. I don't know. Well, why is Florida? Because you got so many other schools.
I think you're right. I don't think the past reflects that, what you're talking about. I think the past reflects that they've had a lot of coaches. And I think one of the things that we do, we seem to have a tendency to talk about Steve Spurrier that's all we talk about. What he did. Outside of him, and Urban Meyer was good. He was really good. Nobody likes him in Alabama, but he was good. So I think it's a job where everybody comes in from afar to get your players, and you get some of them, but you lose a lot of them because Florida is an easy place to get to, and there are a lot of good players throughout the state. So if you're not ready, and I'll tell you something else, Barry. If you go to Lane Kiffin, he's not going to go in to the mamas and daddies. He's going to the transfer portal. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like the recruiting that way. He had rather stay back and just go in when he has to. And I think that's a killer at Florida. I think Lane Kiffin could be one of these kind of guys that goes in there and is not successful as you think. He's got an easy schedule, which he's done a good job. He's a good football coach. He's a named football coach. And what you say, all the things you say are true, but I agree with you. I don't think it's the kind of job that everybody's just falling all over themselves for. You think about it on the outside looking in, but when you get inside, it's not quite as good as you thought.
Yeah, claimed national titles here. It says 3, 96, 2006, and 2008. Bowl record 24-24. That's not great. They were national finalists 4 times. They have 8 conference titles. So I think, but one of the problems is just in the state of Florida, the competition. I know Max talks about all the players there, but you're fighting Miami, you're fighting Florida State, you're fighting UCF on top of all the other schools that come down there. And yeah, you may get some skilled guys, but can you get the linemen and stuff that you need there? So I just, and first they're also saying the timing for a guy like Lane Kiffin, who's got a good chance to make the playoff, it'll be a while before that they can get that guy. So I don't know. They talked about Eli Drinkowitz possibly being a candidate. The guy that's at Washington now is a Florida graduate. So somebody mentioned him. They mentioned the coach at South Florida. I just don't know. But I don't see, if I were Lane Kiffin, I wouldn't go down to that dumpster fire, to be quite honest with you. But they owe this guy $26 million. But I think when the negativity gets to rolling this bad, you're almost left with no choice, right? You have to kind of make a change in this situation because
I think you do. I hate to see coaches lose their jobs, and he says he feels like that it was such a mess. He says it's sort of like ironing a shirt. You start to iron that shirt, and it takes you a long time to get the wrinkles out. And that was his comparison, or his thoughts, and a little bit like that. It's just taking some time. Naturally, the only AD's fanny real heavy, and let me tell you something, folks. Time is with the fans the way they are, the money the way it is. You don't have any time. Your transfer portal's got to be good. Your recruiting's got to be good, and you got to be able to get these guys to play. And you got to hit correctly. You think about it. Arkansas lost a basketball coach because they selected wrong. They quit on him, and now he's in Southern California. So things like that happen, and it's not easy to get your program going. And I think it's a question that I think it's going to happen. I think it
almost has to happen, just because there's no money going in. Arkansas, I saw their athletic director was speaking last night, and he was on their fan base talking about we only have 1,000 people given to our collective, where Ole Miss has 5,000 given to their collective. So
I think that's a problem there. You and I know, because we spent some time there, that the potential for money in Arkansas was there. The potential was there when they end up hiring a basketball coach from Kentucky to come to Arkansas to be better. The money is there, and I like their coach. I think he did a good job. He was at Georgia. I don't think that the fans think the potential is there.
Yeah, they say you go hire a exciting coach and you watch the NIL come. Yeah. One of the problems, and it's not a problem, Josh Heupel, what he's done at Tennessee is absolutely amazing.
Oh, it is. AD too.
And so people look at that and say, well, if he went there and did it that fast, why can't we? I don't know what when Josh Heupel got there, that thing was a dumpster fire, and they are rocking and rolling right now. So give him credit. I think they were talking about how Stoops fired him at Oklahoma.
Yeah, Stoops does fire him, and the athletic director gets the job from down there, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, he's bringing his football coach with him. And everybody is rolling their eyes and saying, what we're doing. And he's come in there and got a great baseball coach. Basketball is good, football is good, and everything's going good at Tennessee. And when you score a lot of points, the way Tennessee is scoring a lot of points, and I should have picked them all along, may pick them this time. People just get really excited about their team, and I think you're right. I think it's a point in time where Tennessee is going good. It'd be very, very interesting to watch this Oklahoma game. Oklahoma should be better defensively than most people because the defensive coordinator is there from Clemson. But we'll see what happens.
I think Tennessee's got it rolling in sports. I think Alabama's headed that direction. Basketball's got it going. Football, I think Rob Vaughn will really upgrade this baseball program. I don't know, not saying he's going to win a national championship like Tony Vitello, but I do think he will bring it up. And so pretty good deals going on at both Alabama and Tennessee. 2 Men in a Truck. They're out at 1330 Martin Road East. As you prepare for this move, you got to get boxes, packing supplies to get everything taken care of. So if you don't want them to pack you can swing by there and buy all the boxes, everything you need right there. And then if it's a local, out of town, out of state, you just need stuff moved around the house. Whatever you need, you give them a call, and they are there, ready, waiting for you. Give them a call today, 205-247-5050. That is 2 Men in a Truck, movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. Plans are in the works for Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump to attend Alabama's home game with Georgia in 2 weeks. It won't be the first time. He attended Alabama's game with LSU in 2018 at Bryant-Denny when he was president. Plans could change, but the visit will complicate security and stadium entry. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We've got ourselves a situation right now. 15th Street southbound after Greensboro Avenue. You do have a fender bender. It's already got traffic starting to slow down back toward 359. Otherwise, the rest of the area not doing too shabby. We've got the construction zones, 2059 East.
Innovation. Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance. And
Tuscaloosa customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's a dry forecast for the rest of this week. The sky partly to mostly sunny today, the high 86. Clear tonight, the low 62. And for tomorrow and Thursday, a good supply of sunshine both days. Highs between 85 and 88 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Want to jump into any of the shows? Call Tide 100.9 right now at 205-342-9904.
will somebody answer that damn phone?
That's 205-342-9904.
Yellowwood, pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Auburn is a 3-point favorite, 2:30 ESPN.
Oh, it's 4.
Well, it's 3 right now. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline and get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Morning, Barry. Morning, Coach. How are y'all?
Hey, Tom. Before you ask us, I've got Patton on. I'm going to talk to him a little bit about what he did. I'm not going to do all that crap that people are interviewing, what were you thinking stuff. I'm just going to ask you what he did as far as trying to improve himself those years that he wasn't playing and all the practice that he had. Anything particular you want me to ask him?
Yeah, I love that line of questioning right there. Ask him. Can I suggest something to you?
Yeah, that's what I ask you. Yeah. Ask. Tell me.
I would ask it like this. What advice would you give to a young pro that's highly ranked? See, we'll feed his ego a little bit. That's a highly ranked amateur, does pretty well when he starts out, then hits the wall and kind of goes into a slump for a little while. What advice would you give to a youngster? Because you didn't give up. You kept fighting, and you came back, and you got 3 wins on feed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll try to ask you something like that. Probably won't be that good a question because he's probably in a hurry. But he's down in Seattle in Georgia. But he was nice enough to be on. But I'll try to go that direction a little bit with him. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Barry may want to go that direction. Whatever I can come up with.
Well, on top of that, we get a little advice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's good.
But anyway, Barry, you're right about Trump. He does, he loves to be adored. And he thinks if he's going to come to Alabama games, he's going to do like he did last time, get a big ovation. And he loves that kind of stuff. But he don't stop to think that, this is serious business to people in our part of the country.
Yeah.
And we don't need all this hassle of Secret Service and all this clogging up the arteries of traffic. And, I mean, he's not thinking about anybody but his damn self, and that's typical of him. and he doesn't need to come to a function like that. Plus, it's people shooting at him every time he turns, and I don't want anything to happen to him while he's in Tuscaloosa. Everybody, you got Tuscaloosa, this, that, and that. You know what I'm saying? Like JFK, it took Dallas 4,500 years to get over that, and I just wish that wouldn't happen. That doesn't need to happen.
This game everybody's been so excited about Georgia coming back here, Kirby Smart coming back here.
Right.
there's people, we actually we got a tailgate we're going to do down on the quad, so people, and then when he comes in.
I hadn't got my invitation yet.
You're welcome. But when he comes in.
I was joking.
But when he comes in, I mean, the moving around the town and all that's going to be. So why would you ruin the weekend for all these people that have been looking so forward to this? You're going to win Alabama anyway, so don't worry about it.
That's right. You got nothing to gain, but you can lose a few points in popularity by clogging up all that traffic. I guarantee you that. And but I don't understand some of these people that have these egos that makes them so selfish. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I forgot why I called in. I'll talk to you later.
Well, let me ask you this: what do you think about this Florida job? I just don't think that. I think the Florida fans have a way higher opinion of their job than what it actually is. I guess he's gone. Guess he don't think much about that Florida job. Dad, your thoughts about Trump if he does end up coming in? I just think it's a selfish move.
I think it's more so political. I think it's because of Georgia, state of Georgia, trying to get Georgia. He's got Alabama. I think it's a little bit leaning towards getting the people of Georgia to appreciate. I think it's a mistake for him to come. But I do think it's political. And I'm for Trump. I think he will do the best job, and he's already shown he would. But I would say that all it'll do would be to stir up a lot of people in all different ways, especially since the life attempts on him. But the people that are guarding celebrities now, political celebrities, they have a very difficult time, and because of we've got a bunch of idiots out there trying to kill people. But I think it's a political deal that is not good for
Tuscaloosa's been looking forward to this. They don't need that distraction. All right, get to the Yellowwood Hotline. There'll be people here picketing and everything else. Get to the Yellowwood Hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Hey, he needs to go to a Penn State game. That's where he needs to carry the state.
Yeah, that's right. Who are they playing that weekend? Maybe he'll go there.
I don't know. He could go there, or Pitt, or he could go to North Carolina, where he needs to win, or he could go to Iowa, which is slipping away from him.
He can go to Georgia Tech,
or go to a Georgia game.
Yeah, go to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, but anyway, no, I was just looking at the stats. I love looking at this stuff, and I shouldn't conjecture like I do sometimes, but. Williams is on pace to have a pretty good year for a freshman. He's already got 4 touchdowns, and he's got 285 receiving yards. If he keeps that pace up, just that pace, he'll have about 855 yards receiving for the year, which is more than Jermaine or Isaiah Bond had last year by 100 or so yards. In Bond's case, by over 200 yards. Bond had 4 touchdowns last year, and Williams has got 4 now. Jam Miller's on pace to have about a 1,000-yard rushing year if he can keep up his same pace. Alabama will have quite a few more rushing yards this year than I think last year's team. But it's just kind of interesting.
One of the things, of course, we don't know, with these records, so if they end up playing, say, 15, 16 games, it's so different now. You play so many more games. So it's hard to compare the yardage when they were just playing 10 regular season games. Now they're playing 12, then you play Atlanta, and then you get to the playoff. I mean, so as far as these yardage and all that, it's all kind of skewed based on the past, based on what's happening now. So
that's right. I mean, Williams could end the regular season with, let's say 900 yards receiving, and then, hopefully Alabama will be playing 5 more games. So that's about another 500 yards right there, maybe.
Yeah. So,
but I'm a little surprised Law's only got 1 catch this year.
Yeah, they think maybe throw the ball to Williams about every time, throw it deep, but they'll start spreading it around when they get in these bigger games, and the first team offense is playing the entire time, and they're having to make drives throughout the game. You know, it's right now they're blowing these people out. So you'll see. I'm sure they've got a lot of stuff they hadn't shown yet because they hadn't had to. So.
Right. Well, I think so, but feel pretty good about going into the Georgia game. That's going to be tough, and I look for Georgia to play a lot better than they played against Kentucky. I'm sure they'll have some special wrinkles for Alabama, but I think Alabama is sort of an unknown for Kirby and that staff. And I mean, you don't know what DeBoer is capable of doing in that game and what he may be up to, but I definitely think Alabama desperately wants to get Caleb Odom, you know, get him going. Yeah. I sense that. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I hear people criticizing Carson Beck. Be careful. He may come in here.
Yeah.
He could light you up. So I think he got a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, you're darn right, Barry. And you know, we've shown a few tendencies to get burned, and it got better the other day. But Carson Beck can hurt you. He threw a beautiful pass the other night in that game in tight coverage, and it was a key completion too. And so he can pinpoint it and he can get it.
To my knowledge, he's never lost a regular season game, right?
I don't think so. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you, Philip.
Good talking to y'all.
Thank you. All right, real quick, Digger, you got about a minute. We got to get to Kevin. Hey, buddy. Hey, Digger.
Hey, David.
Hey, Digger.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, you better pray that Florida doesn't wake up. That's a sleeping giant.
Yeah, they need to wake up.
That's money. Do you understand how much money they have?
Well, they're not spending it very well, Digger.
No, they're not. But there was a kidney specialist from the University of Texas that went to Florida, okay, and ended up developing a drink called Gatorade. Every bottle sold, they get a percentage, both Texas and Florida. And if they were to use that money wisely, they would get the talent that they need. Not to mention ING and academically sound. You need to realize that Florida has the triple crown of natties here. Football, baseball, and basketball. Nobody in the SEC has that.
Yeah.
Okay? Nobody. They would just use it right. They could figure it out. I think Urban Meyer's the one that ruined this whole thing.
Urban Meyer was
You remember when?
good.
Huh?
He was good down there.
He was good, but he used criminals to win. Kind of like what y'all do. You know, you get these criminals, and then you hide them behind others. Come on.
Yeah. Thank you, Digger.
Get some academics and get some talent in there, and you've got you a real good program like the number one team.
Well, then maybe Sarkisian should go there. Thanks, Digger. All right. Yes. All right, we'll get to Kevin Skarbanski. Listen, Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We've got ourselves a situation right now. 15th Street southbound after Greensboro Avenue. You do have a fender bender. It's already got traffic starting to slow down back toward 359. Otherwise, the rest of the area not doing too shabby. We've got the construction zones 20.
Or Town Square Media Tuscaloosa radio websites. Fill out the Advertise Here form. Put the power of Town Square Media to work for your business.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker. Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want to get right to the Yellowwood hotline. He's a writer with the Birmingham Lead. Joins us every Tuesday. Kevin Skarbanski. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sounds like you're in the car. Are you traveling today?
I am. Yeah. I have to out of town funeral, sadly, to go to in a couple days. So heading that way.
All right, Kevin. I think it gets to the point, the negativity around the Florida program. You almost have to make the coaching change. When maybe they won't, but when they do, when do they do it? Do they do it now, or do they wait till the end of the season? I think he's at a certain point. The buyout drops a little bit there. first of all, how good is this Florida job? I hear Florida people talking about Lane Kiffin saying, he'll never win a national championship at Ole Miss. He needs to come here. I don't see him going there, but just tell us a little bit about this Florida job and why has it been a struggle maybe since Urban Meyer?
Well, it should be one of the better jobs in the SEC because you're the flagship school in the state. You have a great recruiting base in your backyard, and for a long time now, Florida State and Miami, with the exception of last year with Florida State, they haven't been great. And so it just seems like Florida has really missed an opportunity to establish its dominance in that state. And so it's really it's a matter of getting the right guy. Billy, for all of the missteps that they've had, and he's made some mistakes in hiring, for example, would be the biggest, I think. He's a good guy. From what I know of him, he's a good guy. He just hasn't translated at Florida, and they took the slow route. They were very deliberate. He is very deliberate. His personality does not help him in this situation because he's so calm and cool. It's eating him up inside.
Sure.
What's happening, but he doesn't show it on the outside. And when you're that calm and cool and things aren't going well, fans are throwing things and stomping their feet, jumping up and down. A lot of the media is doing the same. He doesn't do that. That's just not who he is. Doesn't mean he doesn't care. It doesn't mean he's not grinding every minute to try to make things better. But it's just really a matter of missing, not getting the right guy in there. Because with the right guy in there, Florida wins national championships or competes for them and is the best program in the SEC.
Yep, that.
I try to study the 12 teams that are going to be in there because we've got an array of teams in there from top to bottom. And I think 10, 11, and 12, and I know it's early in the year, is really hard to project, but it looks to me like that the SEC is going to run over everybody with Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee and maybe Ole Miss being in that 12. Is that going to be more of an SEC deal of 4 out of the 12 as it stands right now? Or we got Ohio State, of course, good there, and Oregon jumping around from one place to another. Comment on what you think, where this thing is going to go with these 12. 10, 11, and 12 are hard to decide.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be the case when we get into November as well. But certainly the SEC, while they have had some struggles against Power 5 conference opponents, it hasn't been the teams that have jumped up at the top of the league and have been at the top of the league, like Alabama and Georgia. Right now, you could say, Missouri is certainly in the mix.
Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't count them out. And again, their schedule is very favorable. I think we've talked about that before, relatively speaking, relative to the rest of the SEC. So you could see, right now I could see 5 SEC teams in there. And
wow.
There's going to be a ton, there's going to be a ton of howling if even with 4, which 4 seems almost a given.
Yeah.
The way things have started. And also, because none of this happens in a vacuum, what's happening in other leagues.
Yeah.
Look at the ACC. My goodness. Their champion has to get in. Their champion has to get in, but how many teams past that are going to get in? Not many right now, based on what we've seen to date. So, if any. So, it's going to be very interesting to see, but it's, with what Ole Miss is doing, Tennessee, I think, now they haven't really played anybody of note. NC State is a decent program, and they just embarrassed them. So Tennessee looks dangerous. Tennessee looks more like 2022 Tennessee than 2023 Tennessee.
Yeah, I think with Josh Heupel, I don't know that he gets enough credit for what he's done there. What he inherited was an absolute dumpster fire, and I'm sure Florida, those people look at what he's done there, but he's created tremendous excitement. They score a ton of points. He's very confident Just talk about the job and the turnaround that he's done with that Tennessee program. It's pretty remarkable, Kevin.
It really is, because they were, they went through just like Florida. They went through, but even worse than Florida.
Yeah.
Even the Florida coaches, that have struggled, until Billy Napier, they all had winning records when they were fired. Will Muschamp had a winning record. Jim McElwain had a winning record. Jim McElwain got him to the SEC championship game. Muschamp had an 11-win season. They had some success. Tennessee was so bad for so long with some really questionable hires. So, yeah, Heupel's done a really good job. And I think what we're seeing is, and this is true for just about anybody, but particularly him, because he's an offensive guy. That's his expertise, where he made his mark. If he gets the right quarterback, look out. And it looks like he's got the right quarterback again with Nico.
Yeah, no doubt.
Turning to the Auburn-Arkansas game, Alabama having a week off, we'll skip them for a minute. I think it's not a pressure to get yourself fired at Auburn, but it is some pressure to get yourself where they think you should be. And at Arkansas is a situation where you could lose. It's struggle there because they're not bringing in that much money. Comment on Hugh Freeze and where this against New Mexico, they were not very good. They talk about their quarterbacks, but they don't seem they're okay, but they don't seem to kill anybody defensively. Comment on this Arkansas-Auburn game.
It's not a must-win game, for Auburn, but it's as close as you can get in September.
Yeah.
Because Sam Pittman's on the hot seat. There's no guarantee he'll be back next year if they don't show some improvement. They let the Oklahoma State game get away. They were in great shape there, showed a lot of good things, and then just couldn't stop them in the second half, and then lost it, of course, in I think it was double overtime. But and what makes this game all the more intriguing is the presence of Bobby Petrino. You know very well that Bobby Petrino was the guy that Auburn was going to hire when they fired Tommy Tuberville but didn't tell him back in 2003. And Jetgate blew up. Bobby Petrino was, let's be honest, Bobby Louder was, when he was the guy leading the decisions at Auburn, he loved Bobby Petrino. And he wanted to hire Bobby Petrino. They were going to hire Bobby Petrino, and then it blew up. They missed their window of opportunity. And then I don't know if you guys remember this, but 2008, Tuberville's last year, one of the key games that sent that thing into a slide that there was no coming back from was Arkansas winning at Auburn with Bobby Petrino as head coach. Now, I know he's not the head coach now, but if his offense comes in there and embarrasses DJ Durkin's defense, and this Arkansas team beats Auburn at home, that's going to just raise the questions about Hugh Freeze. Because a lot of questions, and I asked a bunch of them myself, and I still have those questions, after the Cal loss, New Mexico does not answer those questions. Maybe Hank Brown is the answer at quarterback, maybe he's not. He certainly played well, but to think that quarterback is the only issue they have is to be blind to the reality of what's going on at Auburn. They still have a way to go, and if they were to lose this one, there aren't that many games on your schedule that you feel as certain as possible in the conference that you're going to win. This has got to be a game for Auburn that they've got to win.
Well, when you've had 5 straight home games, everybody's looking at you for a 5-0 record.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, they've already let one go. They've already let one go against Cal. If they lose, and then Oklahoma's coming next week, and I'm still not sure about them. I think there are a lot of questions about who they are and how good they really are. So that's another game that you would think in Auburn, a competent, a solid Auburn team should beat Arkansas at home, and they should beat Oklahoma at home. Doesn't mean they will.
Kevin, these games, there's only been a few teams that have been consistent. Even Alabama that didn't play well against South Florida. Kentucky gets blown out by South Carolina, plays Georgia to a 1-point game. Georgia looks unbelievable against Clemson, goes up and almost loses up at Kentucky. LSU's been kind of up and down. You really don't know what's going to happen week to week with these teams. Texas is taking care of business. We hadn't really played anybody. They did play Michigan. Ole Miss is taking care of business in Tennessee, but their schedules have been pretty weak. Why are these teams so inconsistent, Kevin, where you don't know what's going to happen one week from the next?
2 words: roster turnover.
Yeah.
And the transfer portal, guys leaving after a year or two, guys that can play, going and playing and contributing somewhere else. So you're remaking your roster so much now from year to year. It used to be programs, that weren't necessarily elite, like Alabama under Bear Bryant or Nick Saban. They would have good years, but then they would have, mediocre years, but they would build towards something. I always remember in basketball, Cliff Ellis used the phrase, he's the only one I've ever heard use this in relation to sports. He calls it recycling. That it would take he would have some mediocre years. They'd go to the NIT, they'd go 19-15, 17-16, go to the NIT, but they were building to when he had a junior, senior class, and they had years like 99, where they had that unbelievable year with Chris Porter and Doc Robinson. And that's, I think, we're seeing that's happening more rapidly now because of the transfer portal. You can get good you can get much better in a hurry. You can get much worse in a hurry too if you lose the wrong guys.
Yeah. Kevin, do you know how these collectives work? I was talking to a coach yesterday. It wasn't a coach at Alabama, but they're going to that deal out in Vegas basketball. And there's 8 teams. It's not even a tournament. You're just playing 3 games out there, but each team's supposed to get $1 million. They say, well, we're just going to put it in our collective. And then, whatever a guy was told he was going to get, then they'll just kind of pay it out of the collective. When these guys are being recruited in the transfer portal as high school kids when they come in, is it just a verbal agreement, or did they actually sign something with the collective? Because I thought you weren't supposed to be able to tell them how much money they were going to make because it was supposed to be true NIL, which is not. So how are these kids protected as far as knowing exactly what they're going to get? Do they sign something with the collective? Do you know how all that stuff works? Because every coach I ask, they are so vague about the answers. I'm almost believing some of them don't know. How does this work? How does it work?
They almost have to be. Yeah, that's a good question. And it probably works a little bit different every place, but it's confusing. And it is, look, everybody realizes true NIL is very rare. This is pay for play. As much as the NCAA says we don't allow that, we're not going to have that. Well, yeah, you do have that, and you are allowing that. It's happening. So I guess there's they have to be intentionally vague to not be so obvious and blatant that they get that whatever shell of an enforcement staff the NCAA still has is going to come down on you.
Well,
but it's confusing. It's very confusing. Yeah.
He said one of the problems that you run into is they promise these kids money and they can't get it, so then the coaches start giving it to them. He said when you do that, now you got a real problem because you promised this guy something. The collective doesn't have it to give, so now you start giving it. That's when you're going to get nailed. But I just don't understand. If you weren't supposed to be able to negotiate this thing, like if you're Ryan Williams, I don't know if he has an agent or whatever. I mean, does he not renegotiate at the end of this year if they don't give him what he wants? Portal. I'm going portal. I mean, what's this guy worth on the open market right now, Kevin?
A lot.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot. But the definitive phrase, the definitive book about the series of SMU football scandals in the 80s that resulted in that school getting hit with the death penalty. The title of the book was A Payroll to Meet. And when Bobby Collins came in there and replaced Ron Meyer as head coach, he was told that, look, we got a payroll to meet. Whether so you don't really have a choice of keeping this guy on the roster or not. We got to pay him, because if we don't, they'll blow the whistle on us, and that's eventually what happened. There was a disgruntled player blew the whistle. Of course, they had a number of NCAA investigations that they got hammered for. Even the former governor, the current governor, was involved. It was as blatant as we've ever seen. But that's the problem. If you have guys on your roster who are there in whole or in part because of how much money somebody connected with your school is paying them, and that somebody, for whatever reason, can't make those payments, that player and his representative, his family, they're going to be expecting someone to make those payments. They don't really care who. And that's where you can get into some sticky situations.
But, I mean, can these guys have representation? So if you've got Ryan Williams, I mean...
Yes, they can. Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy on the open market, there's no telling what he's worth. I mean, and I almost think, like, I know Alabama people get mad, but you have to cash in while you're hot. You're only going to be so hot for so long. So Alabama's going to have to either pay up, or he's going to tell them, I'm going to go to Ohio State or whatever. I mean, that's the game we got now, right? Where this guy's been this. If he continues at this pace, he'll be the hottest receiver in college football. What's that worth?
Listen, when Alabama got back from the Rose Bowl, I was told by reliable sources that a number of players, that next week, Nick Saban had to entertain, invite into his office, have serious conversations with players who said, okay, if you want me to come back, I need this. They weren't talking about playing time.
Yeah, let me know about about Wednesday. Yeah,
they were talking about money. It was a negotiation, essentially, or you could say it was a hostage situation. That, okay, look, I got offers. I have choices, and if you don't meet my needs / demands, then someone else will.
Yeah.
And there's a reason Caleb Downs is at Ohio State, not Alabama.
Yeah.
It's not because he likes cold weather.
Yeah. Dad, any comment on all that?
No, I don't have any comment. That's basically. I just don't. There's not going to be any more penalties for cheating.
Well, it's not cheating, I guess. I mean,
well, that's what my point is. We can't define what cheating is and what it's not. At one time, we were able to define that, but
I mean, at least if you're in the NFL, Kevin, you're under a contract. Like, you can have the greatest season ever; it doesn't matter. You're under a contract, so you can't hold them hostage. Now, you can at the end of your contract. So I think somehow we got to get it to that where it's a 2-year deal, it's a 3. So if a guy comes in and blows up, he can't hold you up and rob you. And then flip of that, if a guy comes in and he's really, really bad and you promise X number, you can't pull it from him either. So there's two sides to that coin, right?
Absolutely. And that's why, as hard to stomach as it might be for some people, that is going to clear up some of the confusion. That is going to bring some stability to major college athletics that we do not have right now. You have to have actual written agreements. Otherwise, you have guys, and I've been told this happens, not just at the end of the year, during the year. A player might go to his coach and say, "Hey, listen, I'm just using, this is a hypothetical. I just ran for 250 yards 3 games in a week, three games in a row. I need, my mom's house needs a roof, or my car, I need new tires on my car, or the money, or so-and-so who was supposed to pay me from, Wimp and Barry Construction, didn't come through with the payment this month. What are you going to do about it?"
Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening in season, and that's what you can't have. You can't have. That's why there should be free agency periods or transfer portal periods, and there are, but they've got to stick to them, and they have to be fewer. And that's why you have to have contracts. You have to have. That's why there's going to be collective bargaining. That's why they're going to be employees, whether they call them that or not.
Yeah, you got guys in the NFL. Bryce Young's got number one money. He's going to backup. You got to imagine to write the quarterback for Florida State a check every month. That's painful right now for the people that are paying that. That's
why that's another thing I've been told that there's a reason Peyton Thorne was the starting quarterback again this year at Auburn. And it wasn't just because Hugh Freeze thought he saw the light come on or because they added all these quality receivers. They had a deal.
Yeah.
It wasn't technically Hugh Freeze that had the deal, but there was an NIL deal. Peyton Thorne had an NIL deal that promised him so much money last year and this year. That's just that's the reality, and that's within the rules. But it's not necessarily good wasn't necessarily good for Auburn. Certainly against Cal. Yeah. At least they were smart enough to give the other guy a chance against New Mexico.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, best thing to do is follow me on Twitter /X at Kevin Skarbinski. Keep up with the different things I'm doing. My 2 columns a week in the Birmingham Lead. You can subscribe to Birmingham Lead, LEDE.com. And we're back on, and we're on for the rest of the season. Saturday, 6:30, Scott Griffin and me on CBS 42 in Birmingham, College Football Saturday. It's fun, it's fast, it's hopefully informative. I hope people will join us this Saturday. And you can also watch it later if you're watching a game, which obviously a lot of folks are. You can watch it on their website, on CBS 42's website. Check it out.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
All right. All that stuff just gives me a headache to even think about what they have to go through. You forget the coaching part. You got to figure out all that. But I don't blame the player. It's the rules in place. And if I'm Ryan Williams, then I'm going to cash in. I'm sorry, because I'm worth a lot. All right. We want to thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. You want to build a 5-star backyard. There's only one choice. We'll be back at the top of the hour. The phone lines will be open, 205-342-9904. We also have some Coach DeBoer sound we can get to as well. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We've got ourselves a situation right now. 15th Street southbound after Greensboro Avenue. You do have a fender bender. It's already got traffic starting to slow down back toward 359. Otherwise, the rest of the area not doing too shabby. We've got the construction zones.
Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
Week 2 in the NFL came to a close with Monday Night Football in Philadelphia, where the Falcons pull out a 22-21 win over the Eagles. With a minute 39 left, down 6 points, Atlanta quarterback Kirk Cousins led the team on a 6-play, 70-yard drive and capped it with a 7-yard touchdown pass to Drake London. The extra point gave Atlanta the 1-point lead with 34 seconds left, and that was the difference. Cousins finished 20 of 29 passing for 249 yards. With 2 touchdowns in the victory. Both teams are now 1-1 on the season. In NFL news, the Carolina Panthers are benching former first overall pick quarterback Bryce Young. Andy Dalton will start this weekend against the Raiders. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured fibula that will require surgery. In
website, see if it makes sense for your business.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free demo of the Townsquare Business Management Platform. Visit townsquarelocal.com. That's townsquarelocal.com.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Allstate Insurance Agent Andrew Kniffer. Andrew is my agent. Let him become yours. They're out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Norport. You're looking for home, life, auto, whatever you need. These guys will set you right up. Give them a call today, 205-722-9201. Make sure you protect all your assets there, the home, the car, the boat, the motorcycle, whatever you need. These guys will do it for you. All right, let's get to Kalen DeBoer. Normally, Coach Saban does not do press conferences the Monday when they have a week off, but Coach does. So they had the coordinators, I believe, meet with the media yesterday. Some of them were out speaking. Like Kane Womack was down in Mobile speaking last night to a group down there. So they got out. They did a deal over at T-Mobile. They had Ryan Williams and Jalen Milroe out there. They said they had like 1,500 people come out to T-Mobile last night to get stuff signed.
Well, we need to be sure we get to Patton at 15 after because he's.
Oh, I thought you said he was coming on at 8:45.
No, 8:15.
8:15. All right, so let's play the opening statement for Coach Kalen DeBoer.
Good morning, or afternoon, I guess. All right. Appreciate you all being here, and it was a good weekend for us. Everything's a first, right? Going on the road was our first time together with our staff, and thought the guys did a nice job. I was happy, obviously, with the outcome, but also just the process and everything leading up to it and how the weekend went. So I thought they had a great balance of high energy, passion, emotion, but not being over emotional, and having a business-like mindset, and going and just knowing that it was going to be you versus a great crowd there, and thought we did a nice job, just staying the course and made the plays, got the momentum on our side, especially there in the second quarter. The end of the half especially was a big deal, and I preach to the guys, keep playing, keep believing, and things will come your way. We're athletic enough. We got playmakers, and that's exactly what happened. Getting the stop, getting the field goal attempt, and flipping that around in 36 seconds or whatever it was, and getting some points and then doing it again. I thought that was a big piece of what we preach each and every day, and it happened. So some things I know you met with, heard from the coordinators, but I think not having the special teams coordinator up here, I think one highlight also is just how James Burnham's been doing, kicking the football. He's a game changer. He can flip the field really on any kick. We saw that again on Saturday, and just proud of the way he goes about it. He's just quiet, but man, when he hits the ball, it makes some noise, and I mean that in a lot of ways. And so it's fun seeing him do his thing at a high level. So I thought, as far as how we handled the environment and the noise, I thought the offense did a nice job. Did a great job in the week of preparation. Felt like they were ready for whatever was thrown at them. I think the coordinators probably talked about some of the turnovers and takeaways, and how we were better there. Thought we were better on third down, solid in the red zone again. So a lot of those main things showed up. We were taking the next step, I think, this last week in from where we were at against South Florida. So always things from an execution standpoint to improve on, areas where a bye week is important to continue to address, continue to build our depth, develop guys that we know we're going to need throughout the rest of the season.
All right, Dad, thoughts on what Coach had to say there?
Well, he pretty much leaves up the stuff to the coordinators, really. He just talks in general terms, did mention the punter, of course, but outside of that, he doesn't give you really a whole lot of information. You're about as well off listening to the two coordinators as you are at him. But great win for them. They were ready to play and came in, and I thought they played awfully hard. Certainly bad that the quarterback at Wisconsin got injured, but I think they're I guess take a couple of days off. But the Georgia game would be humongous. There'd be a lot of talk about it between now and Saturday week. So I don't know with the injuries that Georgia has had with the offensive line, if this is quite as good a Georgia team as it has been, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a hard game because Georgia's darn good. But I thought Coach just kind of told us what went on.
Yeah, one of the things I've been worried about, they talk about Graham Nicholson, and he's only tried one field goal. Of course, he missed it. He was kicker of the year last year. But when you get in these games, he's a little bit different than kicking at Miami of Ohio. And so he's only tried one field goal. Any kick that he has in Bryant-Denny Stadium a week from Saturday night is going to be a big kick.
We've been spoiled, Barry, with kickers.
Yeah, well, the last few years we have. So let's the update on Graham Nicholson and possibly Ryan Williams. Mal maybe returning some more punts. So Chase, Chase, you hear me? Let's go ahead and play that without thoughts on update on Graham Nicholson and Ryan Williams.
With Graham, we've been scoring when we get in the red zone, getting the touchdowns. We haven't been in too many spots until Saturday where we had the field goal, 46-ish, I think, 47, somewhere in there. I think he hit it good. I think in pregame we felt like maybe there was a little bit of a breeze coming right to left, probably over-calculated that, and it wasn't something where I felt like, where I know we all feel like he mishit it or anything. We just got to do a better job of understanding, the direction or how much it's going to influence the kick. So, yeah, and that's part of being a kicker, right? Pregame, during the game, towards the end, it's going to change, and so each side of the field changes. I know he expects himself to make that. We expect him to make it. He's been solid all fall camp. In regards to Ryan, with the injury to Cole Adams, that was one guy taken off of that area, and our depth, and so Bach's been back there doing a good job with his opportunities, and we need to continue to build that. And just getting Ryan one rep out there, I thought was good. He did a nice job. Looked very comfortable back there. There's some other guys, Jeremy Bernard could do that as well. He's been working on it, not just this year, but in the past. And so we just want to make sure guys continue to get that one rep, feel comfortable. And there's always little things that pop up that guys can learn from. And there were some learning opportunities even with Bach, just staying away from the football on one of the punts that was rolling. We got to do a better job there staying away. So everything is, again, new experience, especially for some of these younger guys, freshmen like Ryan and Bach. But they've done a really nice job so far.
Are y'all nervous about Graham Nicholson kicking in this Georgia game? I hope he makes them.
No, I'm not nervous about it. No, you
think his mama's nervous?
Yeah. What?
You think his mama's nervous?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It's just, when you come here, these kicks mean so much more, and it's, you would like for him to have made a couple or tried one in Bryant-Denny Stadium, but the first time he could possibly try a field goal would be in there, probably in one of the most watched games of the year. So I don't know. All right, we'll take the break here and we'll get Patton Kizzire in. Just won the Procore Championship out in Napa, California. We're looking forward to visiting with Patton. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We're in the heart of your rush to work, and traffic starting to get on the thicker side now. If you're traveling on McFarland Boulevard, you are going to notice some heavier brake lights in both the east and westbound lanes and between Main Avenue and Watermelon. And we're also looking at some
best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Crimson Tide Today is presented on Tide 100.9, WTBC 1230 by BMW of Tuscaloosa. Online at bmwoftuscaloosa.com.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Everwood, the official treated lumber of Alabama athletics. Everwood, wood treated right. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Here's more from head coach Kalen DeBoer following Alabama's win against Wisconsin.
Everything's a first, right? Going on the road was our first time together with our staff, and thought the guys did a nice job. I was happy, obviously, with the outcome, but also just the process and everything leading up to it and how the weekend went. So I thought they had a great balance of high energy, passion, emotion, but not being over emotional, and having a business-like mindset, and going and just knowing that it was going to be you versus a great crowd there, and thought we did a nice job. Just staying the course and made the plays, got the momentum on our side, especially there in the second quarter. The end of the half especially was a big deal. And I preach to the guys, keep playing, keep believing, and things will come your way. We're athletic enough, we got playmakers, and that's exactly what happened. Getting the stop, getting the field goal attempt, and flipping that around in 36 seconds or whatever it was. And
I'll have more in moments.
Producing championship quality lumber is not an easy process, but at Everwood Preserving, it's our only process. Wood treated right. Everwood offers top-notch pressure-treated wood for decks, outdoor structures, commercial jobs, and more that you can build your reputation on. When it comes to quality, we're on the winning team. Visit your local Everwood dealer today and discover the difference for yourself. Everwood Preserving Incorporated, the official lumber of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Join us this afternoon for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCARs.
There are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's a dry forecast for the rest of this week. The sky partly to mostly sunny today, the high 86. Clear tonight, the low 62. And for tomorrow and Thursday, a good supply of sunshine both days. Highs between 85 and 88 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Go to Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. You can see all the inventory right there, whether it be the pre-owned inventory, the new cars they have on the lot. You want to rent a Toyota. You want to schedule a service. You can do it right there on this great website. They got great interest rates out there right now. So swing by Skyland Boulevard. See Justin. We'll talk to Justin tomorrow. These guys will set you right up. They'll take great care of you. Just about everyone in my family here in the last year has been out there and bought a car from Tuscaloosa Toyota. So go to TuscaloosaToyota.com or swing by, like I said, Skyland Boulevard, and tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. All right, just live radio. We're still trying to get Pat and Kazire on. So we've sometimes with the time change, I know he lives over in Sea Island, Georgia, so maybe he had a little confusion, but hopefully he'll call us here back in just 1 minute. I will get back to Kalen DeBoer clips. Let's go to number 4 there. Chase, thoughts on Jalen Milroe's performance in the pre-snap, calling pre-snap against Wisconsin. Jalen Milroe seems to be very comfortable now, getting most of the quality reps there, I'm sure, in practice and in the games. Here's what Coach DeBoer had to say.
Good question. That I'm trying to think through. I feel like there was, I think you get into the situations, probably the latter down at distances, third downs, when you see, the pressures, and I think he did a really solid job. There was one time, and it wouldn't fall necessarily on his lap, where there was a little bit of miscommunication across the board, or it didn't happen as fluid as smooth as you would like. I think we got to the point where we needed to by the time the ball was snapped, but just everyone being on the same page. And that's not just the offensive line and him, that's everyone, and so we could have done a better job across the board. But in regards to Jalen, we are continuing to ask more and more of him as he gets more comfortable with what we do. And we know that is going to need to be the case, where he has full reign right now. He knows what the expectations are and what we really prefer him to be doing with the checks. And he's been really solid. And that's going to be important for us going into SEC play. We know that for sure.
Well, your thoughts on Jalen Milroe and how he's playing right now in this new offense?
Well, I think he's playing within the concept of the way they want to play. I think he's just what they thought he was, and he's keeping the football down there on the goal line and scoring touchdown without worrying about the fumble, giving it off and fumbling it. He's throwing it well. There are times that he's not quite as accurate as you'd like for him to be. But that's because of defensive pressures at times. But I think he's right in line with what they expect. The expectation factor that they had with their offense. They have two offensive coordinators that are good. That pretty much the game is run by coach just communicating a little bit with the offensive stuff that they do, leaving the defense completely alone. Whatever sets the defense has, that's what Ormack does, and so it's worked out well. It'll be a Booger Bear game a week from Saturday, no doubt about that.
Yeah, but sorry, let's continue on the clips there. Justice Haynes only had 2 carries. They had a few catches in the game, so they asked Coach about the limited carries for Justice Haynes from Georgia.
Carries like this one. Who? Oh, Justice Haynes. Yeah. Right off the bat, getting him the ball. He can do a lot of things. Catching the ball. Ran through a tackle right off the bat, set the tone there. Some of the carries where he'd have been involved ended up being throws, RPO plays, run, keeps by the quarterback. And so all of a sudden you get to the middle of the third quarter and you hit another explosive there at the beginning of the fourth. And we're pulling all our guys. And, I know we need him to be really a very productive guy for us. And I thought when he was out there, he was exactly that. We trust and believe in him like no other. The guy works his tail off every single day. He's fun to coach. He's great in protection. He's out in the routes. He's obviously a huge threat when he's got the ball in his hands. And so, just sometimes the flow of the game and the rotation we have, the ball didn't end up in his hands as much, but the ball will continue to find him because I know Jalen believes in him. Our coaching staff believes in him. And so, you try to be intentional on some of that stuff. Sometimes it just doesn't go exactly how you planned as far as who gets the touches and so forth.
Obviously very positive about Justice Haynes. I think it's why like Roy Dale Williams, a lot of those guys left. Do you ever see Kalen DeBoer ever being negative about any of his players in front of the media? It seems like he's always very, very positive. Do you think we'll ever see a side where he criticizes maybe a unit or a player in front of the media?
Well, it'd be something like this. We just didn't think. I just don't feel like we play as good as we're capable of playing. That's criticism without being criticism. That's the way he operates. He doesn't get directly, hasn't thus far got directly disgusted with a player or with what they did offensively or defensively. He just, he talks about what they tried to do and it didn't work. They weren't ready on the counts. They weren't ready on, wide out, fell down, whatever he could say. He says things that they're not what they wanted to do, but he doesn't say it in a negative way.
Yeah, I had a guy tell me yesterday that was talking to a staff member, not one of his on-the-field coaches, and he said that Kalen DeBoer was different than Saban. He said, but he's a genius, just like Saban. He said, this guy's really smart about football and handling kids.
I think you're right. That right there is your real key. When you use that word handling, I think you have to handle people the best way you possibly can with your personality, handle kids and handle now you're having to handle things away from the field more so than you ever have before. When I was going through it was, are you going to get your check for $15 a month, $7.50 every 2 weeks? Can you imagine that? I didn't get my check, $7.50. So it's quite different now than it was back long ago, and it's going to stay more and more so. And where we talked about coaches on the telephone saying the wrong thing and getting caught and stuff like that, I think that's come to an end.
We've seen sometimes emotional guys, and so when you get in these big games, sometimes they can be too emotional. And so they didn't ask him about that, but I he's kind of calm, cool, and collected. They asked him about his success in big marquee games and how he prepares his team during a bye week. But I can see why he's good, because he's always I don't think he gets too high. He doesn't get too low. When you're playing Georgia or even Wisconsin in a game like that, in that environment, you don't have to say a ton to get guys ready.
No, you
to play.
don't. You know, and remember, Sonny's already beaten Texas.
Yeah.
Which is a darn big deal. I thought everybody kept saying, they can't beat Texas, and they did.
And beat Oregon twice. So, but here's what Coach DeBoer said about big marquee games and then his preparation during the bye week.
Window right now.
Yeah, I mean, great players, great coaching staff around you is always what makes it all go. People who are comfortable, you know, being alongside with you in these big games and these big, you know, get an SEC play. They're all going to be big, and so you know, the players make plays, and it's our job to just continue to put them in the best spot, help them continue to gain confidence. You know, remind them that the preparation is what's going to lead to their success, and you know, just a belief in what we do, how we do it. That's to me football. That's, you know, how you're successful in anything, and so that's what we'll do here with the bye week. Use a couple days here to just, you know, relax as far as like kind of decompress a little bit. 7 weeks now these guys have been going. I know it's only 3 games in the season, but they've been going for 7 weeks as of tomorrow when it comes to practices, and this little time here where they can, you know, take care of some school and kind of get caught up or just make sure they're on pace and working ahead even in those areas that are away from football. And knock that out so they can do what they love and not have any distractions. Thursday, Friday, we'll get back on the practice field, and Wednesday, you know, we'll do some things as well. So, you know, these guys need, you know, the physical break as well. I think we're in an okay spot, you know, when it comes to health, but you can always be better, and that's what a bye week gives you.
This guy
I think the biggest thing he said there, which is so true, players make plays.
Yeah.
Players make plays. Now, yeah, you set them in the alignments that you want them in offensively and defensively, but Ryan Williams makes plays. You know, players make plays, and so many times we jump to coach about this didn't work and that didn't work, and some, you know, players really make the plays.
Yeah, but I don't see him anything like Hugh Freeze, where I think he has his players and his coaches back, and so he's positive with them. But if they did not play well, he would not roll them under the bus. Where I see Hugh Freeze is the exact opposite. He does not take responsibility for things. Where I think Kalen DeBoer, I think those guys like him, and I think he has their back. I think he has their coaches back. Where when things don't go well, I don't hear that happening down in Auburn. I think that's just a different style, and I'd much rather see the Kalen DeBoer style than what's going on down in Lee.
It's absolutely, you know, the interesting factor is what happens if you just start playing poorly, and I think that is I don't want it to happen, but you know, when you do, and people got all down and out with the South Florida game. You could tell in the people that called our show. They gone from not losing to maybe losing 3 games. So, you know, when you get to a point where you have not play as well, and you can't play well enough for Alabama fans, generally speaking. And so it will be interesting if things were to go south. And I don't think they will. Were to go south for them on Saturday week, then you know, it's kind of a brand new game.
Yeah, these guys, to me, look very businesslike at Wisconsin. They went in on a mission, and they played confident, and they went in there and took care of business. All right, let's play the last clip there. You got the bye week, and so what he looks for going into the bye week, and especially now that he's in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good because I think every bye week is a little different. Early bye weeks. You know, again, there has been 7 weeks of football that these guys have been kind of going as far as hitting each other, but it is early in the season still. You know, for us, we'll take a few of these days here, like I said, just to let the coaching staff start working ahead on the schematics, game plan,
There's obviously some recruiting. There's other parts of the program where the coaches focus their attention as well. But then from a player standpoint, just trying to get them, a little bit of a mental break here for a second. It's only a couple days, but let them be students here for a few days as well, just not just the athletic part. So, later on, you kind of adapt, even not just when you practice, but how long you practice. But we'll have some really good, solid practices here at the latter part of the week, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Gives us a jump on the next game with Georgia.
You do up.
And in the past years, maybe you could name a game as much confusion as it's going to be for this game Saturday week.
One of the things that surprised me, King Womack spoke last night down in Mobile. And that doesn't surprise me. He spoke in Mobile. There's nothing going on this week as far as, I'm sure you could, after practice, they practice in the morning. So catch a plane down there and speak and come back. But one of the things that he said kind of surprised me. Not that he did it, that he said it. And it was that he met with Coach Saban yesterday about defense. And, of course, they're getting ready to play Georgia, who's been more successful against Georgia than Coach Saban.
That is interesting.
But I would not have said that. I would have met with him for sure because, he has some ideas about defense and maybe – but I don't think I would have said anything about that.
Either.
But he did. So just your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm surprised. I just think that they could have met about hardly not anything. They could have met about a couple of individuals that are not playing as well as they should be playing. What do you do to motivate them? We don't know what they talked about. I think once you say that, JQ Public starts. The coach thinks they need to change their alignment. He thinks this. I just don't think it's necessary. I agree with you.
Well, especially did Kirby work for Nick? They're pretty close there, whatever. I don't know what you got out of it, what you talked about. But, with Alabama beating Georgia last year in the championship game, Nick Saban being 5-1 against those guys, certainly you're going to say, hey, in preparing for those guys, what are the most important things in getting ready for Carson Beck and Kirby, what are his tendencies? You got to ask all those things, right? But sure. But I don't think I would let people know that I went over there.
Georgia will be ready to play. One game doesn't make a season no more than one monkey makes a circus. And sometimes you're the favorite to win the game and don't play as well. The other team plays great on their home field and can beat you. So every team has that problem. So. I think the quarterback at Georgia's darn good, darn smart. He played great the other night, probably not, but I think it'll be a game where Georgia will change some things. Now, I don't know how many people they got injured. Everybody has people injured, though, and it should be a very interesting game. And the Monday after that, when we get on the show, it will be people calling in telling us what should have done, what they should have done, or what they did do, how good it was.
Yeah, one of the good things about this game is the loser is not going to really be hurt that bad. So as far as making a 12-team playoff, you're not out of it if you lose this game.
Not unless you're stomped.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you get beat 28-3. There's that committee that gets in there. Throws the score of that game up on the board, and it becomes much more difficult. I agree with you. It may not keep you out, but you get beat 28-3 in that picture. You're struggling to be in that top 12.
All right, let's take the break here. Let's tell them about Bryant Bank. When we get back from break, we'll open up the phone lines 205-342-9904. Let's tell them about Bryant Bank.
Well, Bryant Bank had a person tell me the other day that they'd gone by and to get an account at Bryant Bank, and the lady said, "How did you hear about us?" And she said, "I heard about you on the radio." So hopefully that was us. And the locations in Tuscaloosa, a lot of people that listen to our show are in the Tuscaloosa area, but even you can be out of our area, and Birmingham has a lot of Bryant Banks there, one in Columbiana. So there are a lot of people that that know that Bryant Bank is really a good place to go. You can bank online around the clock, which is important. Your money will be kept safe. They will do everything they possibly can to make the community feel like that they're a part of Bryant Bank. The banker that is there will do everything he possibly can with the people that work for him or with him to be sure that you're comfortable coming in there and doing whatever you need to do. So these positive things I've said about Bryant Bank are terrific, I think, for people who are really trying to decide on getting a new bank. So go by Bryant Bank and tell them you heard on Inside the Locker Room.
All right, once again, phone lines open 205-342-9904. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We're in the heart of your rush to work, and traffic starting to get on the thicker side now. If you're traveling on McFarland Boulevard, you are going to notice some heavier brake lights in both the east and westbound lanes and between Main Avenue and Watermelon. And we're also looking at some heavy slow goes.
30. The Tide Tailgate Show is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa, and the new location, Highway 280 Birmingham. Online at academy.com.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, now we got Pat and Kazire on the line here, so we'll get right to the Yellowwood hotline. Fresh off the victory out in Napa, California at the Procore Championship. Pat, I know the food, everything probably tastes better right now after a victory out in California. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
We're good. We're good. Go ahead, Dad.
I appreciate you being on. I'm not going to ask you those silly questions they ask you after a win, but it's not easy every day when you're a leader. Pretty much you were. Maybe they tied you one third day or something, but you led the entire time. Puts a little bit more pressure on you, I would assume. Does it? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more difficult. Looking over your shoulder is not quite as an aggressive posture as chasing somebody. So it was hard not to think about the lead and worry about that. But I really stayed present and kept going and kept the pedal down and really focused on what I was doing and not what everybody else was doing, and that paid off in the end.
Staying in the present, I think, is a great comment. Tell me and our listeners as well what you've been working on through the periods of time that things haven't gone as well as you would like for them to. You work on a lot of different things. I'd be interested because I like golf so much and can't play very good. But what have you done? Was it your approach shot? I don't think it was your putting. I know your driver went south on you a little bit in the last day. What have you worked on?
Yeah, well, what's good about golf is everybody can improve. And everybody can play together. So that's what draws everybody to golf. But, I really have been working on all areas of my game. My putting has always been a strength of mine. And for the last several years, it's actually been a weakness. And that really wore on me mentally and wore on my confidence. So I put some extra work in there. I got really into a routine, how I read the putt, how I use my eyes, how I set up, and tried to be as consistent as I could. Just do the same thing over and over in my practice before I went. And when I got there, I just kept doing the same thing over and over. And my focus was fantastic. And
your long putts were out of sight. And of course, your greens are different, so much different in California than they are somewhere else. It's getting used to them once you get there, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, we go to different kinds of grass and different speeds. The speeds are normally similar, but the type of grass can vary a lot. So that's an adjustment we make early in the week. And I think one of my best performances on the greens in my PGA Tour career was actually at that course in 2016. So there's something about those greens that I really see. I see the breaks, and I have confidence on them.
That's great, Barry.
We're talking with Patton Kizzire, fresh off the victory out in Napa, California. Just talk about all the hard work that you've put in over the years, and then to get the victory last Sunday, how satisfying that is. Sometimes maybe you think, man, am I ever going to win again? And then when you do, you probably look back at all the hard work that you put in to be able to accomplish that Sunday.
Exactly. There's always the unknown. You never know. So I kept my head down and kept grinding, and really stayed the course, and kept doing stuff that I knew was beneficial for me, and hoping it would just pay off in the end. And here we are. I got my third victory of my career, 6.5 years after my second. So that was a little longer than I would like, but it was good that I just kept focused and kept that belief in order for it to pay off.
Talk about what this win does for you as far as the PGA and the tournaments that it opens up for you. Not that you're not going to keep working, but that's got to be a little bit of relief there for you. Just talk about what this win means for you.
Yeah, it's huge. It gives me a lot more opportunities.
Sure.
I'll have a lot more opportunities than I've had. I've been playing out of the conditional PGA Tour category, which is only gets in some of the tournaments. And to know that I'll be getting in a lot more is huge. And I was playing what they call opposite field events, which is when they have two PGA Tour events at the same time. One is big money and big points, and then the opposite field is small money and small points. So I found myself playing in those and playing well, but not really earning a whole lot, of points or money. And to know that I'll be playing in some of the bigger tournaments is huge. I'm not sure exactly what all it gets me in, but I know it gets me in the Masters and Maui and 2-year exemption and that sort of thing. I haven't really looked into what all it gets me, but I know it's going to create a lot more opportunity for me.
Absolutely.
I had one of our callers call in wanting to know for you to give your advice to young pros who are trying to get there and hadn't gotten there yet. I don't know that. I think that's personality involved. Any advice to guys who are, almost there but not there, or trying to get there?
Right. Yeah. Where do I begin? I got a lot of advice, but I think it's really important to be extremely disciplined, and you got to find some guys find somebody better than you and go play with them. I think that's one of the most important things you can do is find somebody that achieved more or is better than you, and go try to beat them and play with them until you can beat them. And that's what I did, and that helped me tremendously.
Well, I don't play well, but I play fast. So everybody doesn't mind playing because I don't read. I'm not putting for sevens. So
it's in your pocket before you get to 7. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Sure. I double bogey it. That's right. Go ahead, Barry.
Just talk about kind of since Sunday, kind of how things have changed, man. I'm sure your phone's been ringing off the hook with people congratulating you, and I know your buddies that have seen all your hard work. They got to be thrilled for you seeing it pay off. Just kind of how's everything changed here in the last couple of days?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I shook some hands and kissed some babies after the tournament, and a few cheers, and grabbed me a quick steak, and all of a sudden I got to go to sleep because I got a 4 a.m. wake up call to fly back home to see my kids. And we overslept this morning, and I have to walk my kid inside because we're late. My truck won't start, so it's back to reality. But it's been a whirlwind, and my friends and family are very excited for me. They've supported me through all this. My mom and dad and all my family and my extended family. Everybody's been so supportive through all this that they feel a sense of satisfaction because this started a long time ago and started back at Indian Hills in Tuscaloosa, many moons ago. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think the Auburn golf team won the national championship. Nobody ever talks about it. Y'all were really good. I mean, y'all may have won it when you were at Auburn. Correct me on that. I may be dead wrong.
Oh, that was very, very exciting to see Auburn win that national championship. Coach Nick Kleiner's done a fantastic job. We actually never won. We probably should have won more things than we did. We had a great team. We were pretty stacked, especially my freshman year. But I had a great coach, Mike Griffin, and we just I was too busy doing dumb stuff instead of working on my putting.
Doing dumb stuff. Well,
yeah.
Barry and I want to thank you for being on. I appreciate it so much. I'm of course, I'm a big golf guy. I like to. I can't play it. I try to, but I watch it all the time, and I think I know something, but maybe I don't. But anyway, we appreciate you being on.
Hey, Pat, don't go out to dinner with your buddies anytime soon because they're going to slide that check to you. No telling what they'll order on you. So don't do that. Stay away from those guys.
I know. I know what they're up to.
Well, good luck to you. You made Tuscaloosa proud, and keep grinding. We'll be following you in all the tournaments coming up.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
you, Coach.
All right, there's Pat and Gazire. Wow, all the grinding and then to get that victory's got to be cool.
Great.
All right, we'll take this last break. That's the Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A fender bender found this on 15th Street southbound at Queen City Avenue. Of course, this is one of our surface streets. Now, it is creating a bit of a delay, and we've also got some slow intersection delays beeping up a little more. Skyland at McFarland, you're going to find yourself a little tight on the horizon.
Feed, Adams Heating and Cooling, Tuscaloosa Tractor, Cypress Supply, and Anders Hardware. Complete contest rules online at TuscaloosaThread.com.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Back to Inside. Like one thing Pat and Gazire said, I thought Doug said that didn't get him in the Masters, but he said,
I didn't want to say that because that was. I didn't know.
He would know whether he got in the Masters or not. So we'll have to correct Doug. Hopefully Doug's not right. Pat is right. All right, back up to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Tom back in. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Barry. Hey, Coach. Good job with Pat, and I enjoyed that great interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And a good golf interview, by the way. And I was glad to hear he got in the Masters, too. I thought Doug was wrong, and I didn't call in and say anything about it. But the deal, and I think he's in more than two of those signature events, too.
Yeah, it sounded like he got home and life kicked back in. He had to get the kids to school and everything else.
I thought that was funny.
He hadn't had a chance to check on what all it does for him. So.
Hey, responsibility, don't care if you won a golf tournament or not.
You know what was interesting, though? He said he had a 4 a.m. wake-up call to get to the airport. Most of these guys, you think, winning on the PGA Tour, they're going out there to get on their private plane to fly home. There's a lot of these guys aren't climbing on these private planes, but that's about all the guys you hear about. These guys are grinding just like your average guy.
Especially the fall tour guys.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a lot of them net jet.
No.
And but I was so thrilled that he got his third victory. Hope he gets more, but I'd gotten worried about him because for some reason, I don't know what it is. I guess it's because he's from Tuscaloosa. I always scan the leaderboard and the cut line to see not only just him, but to see if he made it. And I was thrilled this weekend for him because that means a lot for him and his family, and being able to go 2 years exempt will probably add a lot of good money to his situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he probably got his wife probably saying, honey, we're spending a lot of money on this. We're not getting a lot of results. For her to probably stick with him and then for him to finally break through and win and then have so many more opportunities now based on what happened is a neat thing.
Yeah, well, anyway, good job, and I enjoyed it, and good questions, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom.
Glad we could get him on.
Y'all take care.
Yeah, I thought you had told me yesterday he was going to be on at 8:45. That's why I was confused when you said 8:15. Okay. So maybe he thought 8:45 as well. But anyway, the good part is it
turned out the interview was great. He did a great job.
Yeah. So
he told us all. He said he could have gotten better at Auburn, but he was too busy goofing around.
Yeah. All right, that's it for today's show. So we'll slide out of here and make way for the Gary Harris Show. So keep it locked in. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great day, everybody.